Welcome to another Bally Sports Plug Arizona Diamondbacks recap for April 10th through April 23rd, 2023. I'm Chris Patrick, and joining me today, Michael Benjamin and VSP Tallman here to break it all down for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. In the last 2 weeks, the Diamondbacks went 6 of 7 over 4 matchups, putting our regular season record at 12-11. Still at first in the division, let's take a look at how the last 2 weeks broke down. Starting here at home, a 3-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers. The D-backs would win that one 2-1. The Snakes would then hit the road and head out to Miami and take on the Marlins for a 3-game series, and unfortunately took the loss here, winning only 1 of the 3 games. Staying on the road, it was out to St. Louis to battle with the Cardinals for another 3-game series, where we looked good and won this one 2-1. That would bring our road trip to an end as we would head home for a tough 4-game series against the San Diego Padres. We lost this one 1-3, but never losing by more than 2 runs, so a slight bit of optimism there. Now I'll pass it over to Mike for a deeper look at these last 2 weeks.
We start with a Zach Gallen gem in Game 1 against the Brewers as he throws 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, and no earned runs, and the D-backs shut out the Brewers. And on the 11th, Merrill Kelly stayed strong until the 7th, where the Brewers piled on 5 runs and the Snakes couldn't garner any run support. But in the final matchup, we bounced back behind a 3-hit outing from Lourdes Gurriel Jr., including a 3-run homer as the Diamondbacks take the series 2-1. Then the D-backs head to Magic City, where Madison Bumgarner gave up 5 runs on 6 hits in the 4th. He did rebound in the 5th, but was pulled after 82 pitches, his longest outing of the season, and the Diamondbacks dropped the series opener. In Game 2, the Diamondbacks take a lead into the 7th, but reliever Scott McGowell gives up a leadoff double, and Andrew Chafin falters as Luis Arez's single drives in 2 runs, and the Snakes lose a tough one 3-2. But we're able to salvage a win in the final matchup as Zach Gallen throws another gem with 6 2/3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, no earned runs, but we lose our first series of the year 2-1. And on the 17th, we head to the Gateway Arch and are powered by Pavin Smith's first career grand slam to take the series opener in St. Louis. In the second outing, the Diamondbacks use a high-powered 4th inning to power past the Cardinals and stave off a 9th-inning comeback as Miguel Castro secures his first save of the season. The Snakes do drop the series finale as Mad Bum is shelled yet again through 3 innings, giving up 7 earned runs and 4 walks, but the D-backs take the series 2-1. But as we head home on April 20th, the Diamondbacks make the wise decision to designate left-handed pitcher Madison Bumgarner for assignment. He ended his tenure with Arizona with a 15-32 record, 5.23 ERA in 69 starts. Clear to say that the $85 million contract was not successful. But we move forward on the day of herbal tidings as Trent Grisham's 4 RBIs give the Padres a 7-5 win in the series opener. But the D-backs, they bounce back again, and once again behind another all-timer from Zach Gallen as he extends his winning streak and scoreless innings count to 22. But Fernando Tatis finds his form, helps power the Padres to a 5-3 victory in Game 3, and Yu Darvish secures his first win as the Diamondbacks fall in Game 4 and drop the series. Starting to see the Diamondbacks come back to earth a bit, but at the moment they still sit in first place in the NL West. But the Dodgers and the Padres are nipping at their heels, and if we don't break this even momentum we're seeing right now, we're going to find ourselves slipping to third before we know it. But we're still in a growing period, and if you were to tell me that this team would be fighting for positioning at the top of the standings at this point in the season, we should honestly all be on board. So with that being said, I'll pass it over to Tallman to let us know what he's been seeing over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, like you said, Mike, we're really seeing them come back down to earth these last 2 weeks. I guess it'd be kind of ignorant on our part to assume that Encore just come together and we just keep winning series after series after series going through the season, right? So like you said previously, 6 and 7, that's not bad over the last 2 weeks. Still, to me, I'm thinking question mark is it keeps coming down to this pitching. Of course, if we could have 5 Zach Gallens, I don't think we're ever going to lose a game, right? But coming down to that, really the starting pitching still kind of loose in the bullpen. Dre Jameson got optioned to AAA Reno. after he struggled yesterday. Only lasted an inning. He gave up 3 runs and he walked 3 batters. Then also we have the question mark of this Tommy Henry guy who's actually pitching tonight in our first game with the Royals. He's ultimately going to take Madison Bumgarner's pitching rotation spot. And then what is kind of exciting too here is we're going to assume that Brandon Pfaadt's going to be taking Dre Jameson's spot in the rotation. Well, he's one of our higher prospecting pitchers that we have in our system. So yeah, let's see how it pulls off. I'm curious to see Tommy Henry, and then of course waiting for that news, hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours, of Brandon Pfaadt being brought up.
For sure. Still a lot of question marks with this team and this roster. I think 6-7 is right on pace with our expectations. And that's what we have to remember is this team is exceeding our expectations. We kind of all set out for them from the onset. I mean, 6-7, that's right around the 500 mark. These guys are doing what they have to do. I mean, addition by subtraction in getting rid of Madison Bumgarner. I think if this team continues to excel and exceed expectations, it's going to force the hand of upper management to make some moves before the trade deadline and put us in a spot to contend for a playoff run this season, because you got to strike while the iron's hot, and this team is definitely looking hot. I just want to look at some stats of a few players in the last 2 weeks. I mean, the bats are staying alive, as Tallman had said previously. Christian Walker in the last 2 weeks batting .286 with 12 hits, 2 home runs, and 10 RBIs. He leads the team on the season with 14 RBIs. Corbin Carroll batting .310 in the last 2 weeks with 13 hits, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. The catcher, Gabriel Moreno, batting .324 with 11 hits, 1 home run, and 9 RBIs in 11 games. And in the bullpen, even seeing some signs of hope with guys like Kyle Nelson, who appeared in 6 games, has a record of 2-1 in the last 2 weeks, and an ERA of 0 with 9 strikeouts to boot. So if we can continue to get some success from the bullpen, I know Andrew Chafin had a bit of a hiccup, and the bats stay alive, this team has a good shot to stay competitive and maybe even stay in that number 1 spot. With that being said, Michael Benjamin, I got to know, who'd you choose for player of the recap this time?
So I'm going with a familiar face from our first recap. It's Diamondbacks second baseman Ketel Marte. Over the last 2 weeks, he's batting .311, 14 hits, 4 RBIs, 10 runs scored, and a dinger. He has 5 multi-hit games, including 3 in the Zach Gallen gem over the Padres on the 21st. I just love to see great starts from our most tenured guys. It sets the examples for all of these young guys and lets them know we're trying to do something this year. And Ketel Marte has really stepped up to the plate in that regard. You know, a guy who had been moved all over the place to start his career with the Diamondbacks, from shortstop to center field, and now back solidified in his second base role. It's just great to see. So I'm going with Ketel Marte. And with that being said, Tallman, who's your player of the recap this week?
It's got to be Arizona's front office, general manager Mike Hazen. Showing no mercy, right? Coming in, just designated Madison Bumgarner for assignment. Doesn't care that it's going to be the most dead money this franchise has ever taken on, but just making that statement, showing that sense of urgency to this young team that, hey, we want to win right now. And I mean, they could have moved him to the bullpen. They could have come up with some type of phantom injury. We're going to reevaluate him in a few months or something. But no, they're coming out savage, just getting rid of him right away. They still owe him $34 million, but who cares? Good riddance. Granted, this would be a whole different situation if we didn't have such promising young pitchers to come in and take that ball every 5 days. So God bless them for creating such a young core and being able to make this splash move and give us a chance to not sit there and watch him go out there and just throw meatballs every 5 days, because it was starting to get really, really hard to watch. So attaboy, Mike Hazen.
Solid picks, guys. And I think those are excellent choices. But for me, my player of the recap had to be Zach Gallen. This guy is an absolute stud. 3-0 with wins over the Brewers, Marlins, and our only win against the Padres. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 29 strikeouts, only giving up 1 walk and 0 earned runs. Absolutely incredible. And that's pitching 20 2/3 innings. So we want to see some more of him. We're going to see him again on Wednesday when he takes on the Kansas City Royals. And I think it goes without saying that Gallen is our certified ace. And him staying healthy is going to be crucial so we can get a win every time he steps on the bump. So we'll have to keep a tab on this. We'll keep coming at you with these recaps every 2 weeks. Coming up, we have the Kansas City Royals for a 3-game series at home, then off to Colorado to take on the Rockies for a 3-game series there. A quick 2-game stint away in Texas, taking on the Rangers, before we come back home for a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. For Michael Benjamin and VSP Tallman, I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.